Welcome, everybody, to Real Kyper at noon. Nick Kypreos here, going to be joined with Doug Maclean momentarily. So much to talk about and a little time to do it. We're back with an afternoon game as well. Action starting at 3 p.m., which doesn't give us much time here. But we're going to have to certainly go back to last night. And then there's so much off the ice that I want to get into with Doug Maclean as well. Mike Green. Let's talk about Mike Green announcing on The Athletic his intentions of retiring. Logan Couture, folks, getting sucker punched last night in Toronto. He ended up tweeting all about that. And we also have the Captain and Trade. We want to get Doug Maclean's thoughts on that. But as far as last night goes, how about two individual goals or plays that we saw that really stood out for me? And I know it's cliche when we talk about your best players being your best players, but we saw that last night in both hockey games. And it's not your role players have to be your best players. It's your best players. And no matter what, when we're talking about winning a Stanley Cup, if you don't have your top guys at the forefront, you don't win. And I appreciate being a role player my whole career and what a third line can do and all of the depth that you need to win a Stanley Cup. But then you have certain guys that just step up. And when I see Elias Pettersson in Vancouver do what he did last night, I go, wow. And when I watch Braden Point do what he did late in the second period to set up a Kucherov redirect off a shot from Shattenkirk, I go, wow, what a play. And those are moments that really, I think, defined both teams in Tampa Bay and Vancouver. And now we've got a real series. And maybe just to kind of stretch that out a little bit more is Doug Maclean out of Summerside, PEI. Welcome back, Mac.
Okay, I'm going to say something here that's going to catch you a little off guard. We're talking Pettersson, okay? I'm going to tell you a guy that he reminds me of. And this is, people are going to think I'm crazy, but this is how good I think this guy is. Do you have any idea who I'm talking about, Nick Kypreos? Because you seem to pride yourself in being up on
Pettersson.
Comparisons. Okay, you don't know. I give up.
You're older than me. You could go... You can go
Beliveau. Okay, tell me that he doesn't remind you of Pavel Datsyuk when he first came into the league. He has a chance to be that good, Nick.
Yes. Yeah, I don't disagree in terms of the hands and watching that third goal, the one that broke Vegas's back. And I think
that's when Datsyuk jumped into my head. When he made that play.
Well, that's backhand, forehand. And if you watch the reaction of Robin Lehner on that goal and how it was like he stayed with him and I think he kind of watched him skate off in the corner. It was like, okay, who the hell was that? Maybe Lehner was wondering if it was Pavel Datsyuk. Because that was a move that ends up with your jock strap wrapped around your face.
My God. The only guy that liked that goal was Marc-Andre Fleury. So, you know
what? Hold on. We'll get into that a little later. Don't go into that right now. Let's just stay on Vancouver.
My point on Pettersson. This was a guy the game before didn't get a shot on goal. This is a young kid in our league whose team was embarrassed. And this is a kid that came into last night's game against a really good Las Vegas team. And what a performance he put in. And he brought everybody with him. I know Horvat was great. I know Green made a great move on the line combinations with Toffoli. But Pettersson made two big plays at critical times that it took Vegas by storm. Yeah. He was that good. And this isn't a big guy. This isn't a guy and he's not intimidating. You cannot intimidate this
That's
kid.
The thing that stood out for me is that
big time.
if he's not intimidated, then nobody should be intimidated because he still isn't. First of all, he hasn't matured into that complete manhood. So he is getting stronger, and he's gotten a lot stronger in the last 12 months. We know that. We can see that. But listen, you can say whatever you want physically. It doesn't mean shit if you're not here tough and mental toughness and you're not intimidated. And he really set the tone in terms of I'm not backing down. And I don't know if it was Vegas being too cocky, too arrogant. Maybe it was the strut that Ryan Reaves came in. And we talked at length about how he set the tone, his 11 hits, how he ran over Vancouver.
Mm-hmm.
And then I watched the interview that he had before, and he says, I was living rent-free the first game. I'm living rent-free in the first game. And I just said, okay, if I'm Vancouver and I get any sniff at all at that just fuels my fire even more. And I know exactly what he's talking about. And he did. Vancouver gave him a credit card that first game, and he charged everywhere.
But I'm going to tell you something. When you're coaching and you're general managing of a team in the playoffs, in particular, bad enough in the regular season, you make sure that your players aren't shooting their mouth off like that after a win. You make sure of that. And it doesn't do you any good to talk like that, in my opinion. I think it was a mistake by Ryan Reaves. I think the laughing, the chuckling,
the chicken on the bench, the buck.
How comfortable is Travis Green last night? Hey, albeit he made a couple of great line adjustments, flipping his centers on his top two lines, and adding to Foley. But the motivation factor last night was, boys, they laughed us out of the building. They literally were laughing at us on the ice.
Oh, and let's just make sure. To me, it's really insulting to hear that you were living rent free on Vancouver's property, because that in a nutshell tells you everything you need to know on the comfort zone of Vegas coming in game 2. And that to me was a horrible sign. Now I remember, Mac, and you were with me in Washington. I played my first NHL game against Philadelphia. I'm feeling really good. The next night, we play against Chicago. So now I'm in my second NHL game, and Chicago's got guys on the team like Al Secord, Dirk Graham, Bob McGill, and then Dave Manson. And I'm lining up on a face-off.
Charlie, it wasn't Dave Manson.
Yes.
Wasn't it Charlie Manson?
Charlie Manson. And I'm lining up on a face-off, and he just casually looks at me and goes, "What are you doing?" And I'm like, and I know his reputation, and all I could think of saying was, "I'm just playing my game." And then from that moment on, I was paying Dave Manson rent the rest of the game.
When Dave Manson was on the ice, and I remember coaching in Detroit, and we'd play Chicago a lot because of the division at that time. And we had Probert and we had Kosher. We had but Dave Manson used to scare me, and I was on the bench. I didn't have to go on the ice. And he made me nervous.
There's only a few guys over my career that could, how do I say this? Get me to poop my pants. How's that?
Yeah.
He was one of them. He was one of them.
He bothered a lot of people.
So that's what rent-free means, that you are in your opponent's head, that you can control how he feels. And for Ryan Reaves to come out and say that, and then for the team to lay an egg, I think was a pretty good learning experience for that team going into game 3.
Big time. Like, hey, I get the cockiness. I get Ryan. I mean, you'd love to have Ryan Reaves on your team. You would, but you got to keep your mouth shut. This is the Stanley Cup playoffs. This isn't the regular season. This is a time when you don't let things slip. I love the way the Canucks handled it. Travis Green said after the game, we weren't very good. Peter DeVore didn't say anything. Peter's a seasoned guy. But look, this Vancouver team was ready to play last night. They were so fired up over the embarrassment on the ice, off the ice, around everything. But the impressive thing is the kids stepped to the plate in a big way. I know Tyler Toffoli was critical to get him ready to play and get him on the ice and flip the lines, but Pettersson's play to me was the play he made on the Toffoli goal where he beats the guys wide, he circles the net. Special talent. So I'm just throwing Datsuk out. I thought you'd be pretty impressed by that.
No, the Magic Man. Go to your phone and say, "Hey Siri, who's the Magic Man?" And
then sit and watch his highlights.
That's right.
Watch some of Datsuk's career. If you're a hockey fan and you like great hands and great plays, watch the Datsuk highlight video of his career. Like, it is unbelievable.
We did see flashes of Vegas in the second period. Come on. And Markstrom was lights out again, pretty consistent with what we've seen since hockey started up again, August 1st. I just wonder, Mac, is this the way it's going to be for Vancouver to win and win the series? Does he have the stamina, the longevity to be that first star almost every night?
He's going to have to be like he made 38 saves last night in that game, and I saw in some stats after 93 shot attempts. You know how I love analytics and 93 shot attempts, and I heard Kelly Rudy make a comment that even if it's a shot attempt, the goalie has to work at it. The goalie has to be ready. And how the fatigue factor on Markstrom, where does it start to seep in? He's getting a lot of rubber. He's getting a lot of traffic. He's getting a lot of action in the paint. He's had to work extremely hard in the net. That's the downside. And he has been so good. And you hit it, Nick. That second period, he was Stanley Cup winning caliber goaltending the way he performed last night. Like you said, the second period, it could have got away on them, other than the timely goal by Pettersson on the great deke. Other than that, it could have got away.
Nick Kypreos, Doug Maclean here on the Real Kyper at noon. Keep the comments coming in. Got a chance to kind of look at it a little bit. Some Mac like our music to start the show. Some of them hate it. We're getting those type of comics. That's terrific.
On it.
We love the feedback. We want the rating and review on the Apple Podcast. Get those out for us, and we'll start reading them back to you.
I'm lukewarm on the music, but I also think I'd like to see the music sort of, as you start to talk, the music sort of fade out as you're starting. I'm giving you some of my production experience because, as you guys all are aware, I was in TV for an extended period of time. So as you're starting to, the music can fade out and maybe we can mix some music. Anyway, just my own thoughts.
There's some that are looking
trying to help the boys out,
Doug, would you like some polka music? What would your preference be? Let us know, please. We're very interested.
Because there's a few viewers. There's a few viewers that like to see you faded out right now.
No, they would like to see me phased out.
Speaking of
phasing
out, but are we now looking at one of the biggest goalie controversies in NHL history on who DeBoer should play next game, Lehner or Marc-Andre Fleury?
Do we have to go there?
Yes, we have to go there. Now, Lehner didn't, he's not the reason why they lost last night, but
no.
Could he use a break? Could he use Marc-Andre Fleury to kind of calm the waters down?
Well, he could, and that's the comforting thing. As you know, that's what DeBoer and McCrimmon and company said, is that we got insurance. They didn't say they have Fleury for insurance. They said they had Lehner for insurance. So they do have insurance. They can go either way here. And how hard would the boys play if Fleury was the starter next game? How hard? The Golden Knights play hard anyway. That's a given. But how hard would they play if Fleury went in nets? We know how popular he is. And like you said, Lehner, full marks to Lehner. He was solid. He's been real good. This isn't about Lehner. This is about what's best for the team.
But we also know that pride, egos, I don't care what you want to call it, and you've been a general manager, you've been a president. If Marc-Andre Fleury starts, do you worry about the perception out there that a guy like Alan Walsh got his way, that he's running my show, he's telling me who to start? Would you worry about that? Would that be in your back of your mind if you're Kelly McCrimmon or George McPhee?
I don't think you can let that get in your mind. Your number one priority is what's best for my hockey team. I could give a rat's ass about Alan Walsh if I was a GM unless I'm doing a contract with him, and then I make on him his buddy. No, I'm kidding. I like Alan. But seriously, you don't care. You don't worry about Alan Walsh. You don't worry about hurt feelings. You don't worry about any of those things when you're in the Stanley Cup. You worry about what's best for my hockey team. What do I need to do to win the game? We saw in Calgary, we all stood here and said they should start Riddick. Riddick should start, not Talbot. They went with who they wanted to go with. They went with Talbot. They didn't worry about pressure. Everybody was saying Riddick should have started. Ward made the right decision. I would say I would be shocked if they went away from Lehner. I would be shocked.
Tell us how you really feel. Don't sugarcoat it when it comes to Alan Walsh.
No, I don't mind. I'm kidding. I have never disliked an agent in my life.
Bullshit. Excuse me. Excuse me.
I always liked the combative Alan. It didn't bother me. I know he sticks up for his guys. I have no problem. He's a sharp guy. He gets a little carried away at times, but I certainly do not dislike Alan Walsh.
One thing that I found rather, I don't know if it's concerning or not, is again, we talked about how good Vegas felt after game one, and now how the pendulum's completely swung the other way. And Jonathan Marchand, probably, I mentioned off the top of the show, Logan Couture put out a tweet last night saying he was sucker punched in Toronto. Last night, he went on Instagram and started getting into it with a few people that obviously, upset him, clearly. Mac, did you see some of those Instagram messages that Jonathan Marchand put out?
I happened to see them because I would never have seen them other than I was told to look at them. Yeah. And I'm thinking, like, where's your head guy? Come on. We're in the Stanley Cup playoffs. Do you know, Nick, what has been written about me and you the last 10 years, about what people have said about us, and what's been written about us for 20 years when we're a manager and a coach? And I mean, you cannot.
Well, we don't know everything. These people. We don't know everything. We haven't checked like bathroom walls or anything like that.
Oh no, yeah. Well, I was scared to go in the bathroom at my last couple of years in Columbus, what would be written there. But you know what? I mean, the thing is, you're in the Stanley Cup playoffs, guys. This is what you play for your entire lives. Don't get distracted by people that are.
If it does,
I don't understand it,
Mac. How do you go from feeling so good in game one to being so frustrated if you're Jonathan Marchand, so that you need to go on Instagram and start challenging people that are challenging you? Because that's a long lineup if he wants to go down that path. There's many more replies you can hit. I just don't know if he's got enough hours in the day to do it.
As how many times have you get insulted on Twitter and you're right there, or Instagram, and you're right there ready to hit that send button, and then you say, "Oh, don't do it. Don't do it."
I don't get as many as you do, obviously. But that lineup's a lot longer for you than it is for me. I know that.
Which is fine when I'm proud of it.
Yeah, you're proud of it. That's all right. That's why we love you on the Real Kyper at Noon show. Exactly. Right? So before we switch gears.
I wish you didn't love me as much.
Before we switch gears today. Yeah, before we switch gears, the game's changed in so many ways, but the challenges of players off the ice remain the same. And I just want to talk a little bit about Logan Couture, who tweeted today that he was sucker punched. I have information that I believe that it happened again in a drinking establishment. It was late. Anytime you think that maybe alcohol's involved, Mac, is never a good thing. It was, I'm sure as a president and general manager, it was always your fear of, and mine as a player, going into certain areas and being challenged and being, for whatever reason, and how I handle it was always my number one responsibility. It's not what happens to you, but how you handle it most often the time. But first of all, we want to say here at the Real Kyper at Noon Show, we hope Logan's okay, that he wasn't hurt badly, and that he'll be full of recovery, being attacked last night. So
you know what?
Saying that, it's always a concern for teams, right? That hasn't changed in 2020.
I've had some really interesting things when I was a GM or president of a team and dealing with players and off ice. It was all. I've got so many stories I could write a book, but I can't write a book. I can't write the book.
Well, share a little bit for Real Kyper.
But I remember getting a call about my captain Lyle Odeline getting into a fight in a bar. And I called Lyle aside and I said, Lyle, I was just told you're in a bar fight last night. We're in Columbus. We're trying to set a great tone for our franchise. I can't have my captain getting into bar fights. And Lyle looked at me, he said, Mac, he said, Doug, he said, the guy hit me first. And what am I supposed to do? The guy hit me first. And I can't take that. And I said, oh, okay, the guy hit you first. Yeah, he hit you first. I said, okay. So then I delve into it a little bit further, and I find out that Lyle really wanted to fight this guy. So he got the guy. He encouraged the guy to hit him first. Lyle was so damn tough.
Oh, my God.
On and off the ice. I mean, on the ice and on the ice. So he let the guy hit him first, and then Lyle hammered him. So when I phoned back to the police who I was dealing with, said, Lyle said that he could hit first. He said, yeah, he let the guy hit him first so that he could hammer him. But anyway, I have one little story to tell you about Lyle Odeline, and this wasn't off the ice. I'm coaching. I had coached in Baltimore in the American League and coached against Lyle Odeline. Anyway, I'm on the bench in Detroit, and I'm watching Lyle run people on the ice. He's playing for the Montreal Canadiens at this time, and he's running people on the ice. So Gerard Gallant comes off the ice. Gerard was a tough kid. And Gerard said, I'm going to get that Swede next shift. I'm going after that Swede next shift. I said, who's the Swede, Gerard? He said, that Odeline guy, that Swede. I'm going to get him. I said, Gerard, he's not a Swede.
No.
He's not from Sweden. He's from Western Canada.
Western Canada.
And at that point, Lyle drops his gloves with Randy McKay, who was one of our tough guys in Detroit.
That's right.
And they went toe-to-toe. And Gerard turns to me, he said, thanks for the tip, coach. So
Mac,
that's how tough Lyle was.
Mac,
but he wasn't from Sweden.
When I went to Phillies training camp, East Coast was scared of West Coast, right? When you heard someone was from the Western League, the Ontario League went, oh, he's tough. He's tough. Oh,
especially if they're from Saskatchewan.
It was there was quite a lineup of tough guys coming out of Western Canada. Lyle, as many as as there were, he could lead the charge. That's how tough this guy was. I fought him a couple of times, and I got lucky a couple of times.
I had another one of my players. They come into my office in the morning. They said, this was I was GM and president. They said, hey, we hit a parked car last night in the parking lot. I said, oh, you hit a parked car? Yeah. It was past curfew. Yeah, it was past curfew. I said, just go down and talk to our lawyer and they'll deal with it. And you guys work through it and we'll figure this out. My lawyer comes back to my office. He said, Doug, we've got a little problem with the hitting the parked car. I said, what's the problem? They hit 9 parked cars.
Oh my God. Oh my gosh.
So dealing with off-ice issues, dealing with the Couture, dealing with the Marchand. So that's part of doing your job as a general manager, is putting up with these little incidents.
Well, let's swing it over to Tampa and Boston, because I think John Cooper has less issues tying the series than he would have had going down 2-0. I look at I want to get your comments on this as a former coach, because you watch Braden Point, and I thought it was pretty pivotal that Tampa Bay was able to come back and tie the score, and then upon further review, and give Boston a ton of credit, they called an offside goal, which the replays showed absolutely. And then you could fry 90% of your team if they're coasting to the bench like that. But then you watch Braden Point, your best student, Mac, your best student, the guy, A+ all the time, always does his homework, never a surprise. And then you watch him coast in like that. As a coach, when you see something that you're not used to seeing out of your best player, how do you handle that? Because I thought the reaction of Point to go out there and be a difference maker after knowing you screwed up was a key moment for Tampa Bay.
You know what? I don't say anything to Braden Point, because Braden Point's a type of player. First of all, if he's coming out of the zone, you know that he's exhausted, because he plays that hard every shift. And because of what he brings to the table, you know, if it was a player that was a little bit lazy, a little bit of a loafer, you would go after him. But to me, as a coach, I wouldn't have said a word to Braden Point. And that's not favoritism. That's based on what he brings to the table every shift.
And,
so
yeah,
he
and
felt, when you saw the look on Braden Point's face, no coach has to say anything to him, because you know exactly how he felt. And you know what he's going to bring to the table. So to me, it was a non-issue, to be quite honest, because it was him.
Yeah. And I just want to go back to that great individual effort. And Tampa Bay they just wouldn't go away. And they probably had a couple of different reasons too. Boston kept taking the lead, and they kept fighting back. But that late second period, individual effort where he is along the walls and he's getting closed off by about 4 Boston Bruins.
Big time.
And he's turning. I think he got a little help from Maroon, maybe just with one bump that opened up a little bit of a hole, but not a hole big enough where he would panic. He still held on to the puck. He had Coyle coming down and pressuring him, and the poise that he had. Mac, he looked like Steph Curry dribbling. And then he moves the puck to the middle of the ice. I think it was Nordstrom that decided to come over and challenge him a little bit. And that was like the perfect time to move the puck to Shattenkirk. But I thought, what an amazing play. Much like Pettersson we saw in Vancouver. Yep. Just a game-changing moment for me.
You know, and I think, yeah, it's heart, it's skill, it's character, it's all those things. And then you couple what he did in that particular play, along with the overtime goal in the 5th overtime, and the overtime goal in the deciding game. I mean, Braden Point, this is a kid that wasn't drafted. This is a great hockey story. This is an undersized centerman who is a centerpiece on a team with Kucherov and Stamkos and everybody else. He's a centerpiece. He's the goal. He's the guy that makes this team go for me. And it was a special play. It was plays that you see at Stanley Cup time, when guys have put everything on the line, and he wasn't going to be beaten. He wasn't last night.
Well, we talked about best players being your best players. Point did that for sure, but we know, Mac, that it's all about the depth. No Ryan McDonough, a great minute muncher for Tampa Bay, and now you see Coburn step up, Luke Schenn. These guys haven't played since March, and I thought Coburn was really good. in terms of making those nice subtle plays. I think he ended up with an assist on the Coleman goal. And another guy, I'm looking at Zach Bogosian. That can't be the same Zach Bogosian that got terminated in Buffalo when I saw him go coast to coast and split Carlo and Krug
seriously
right down the middle and make an unbelievable pass to Coleman. That's not the same guy. Or wait. That's not the same guy that the Toronto Maple Leafs passed on, even though he desperately wanted to be a Toronto Maple Leaf. That's not the same guy, is it?
I think it's the same guy that was
really
heavily debated who was better at the draft. Pietrangelo, Bogosian, Schenn. Remember that defense-heavy draft?
Yeah.
And how highly thought Bogosian was. And yes, he is the same guy that's playing now. Coburn playing for what, 1.3 million?
Yeah.
After Coburn making big money. Bogosian playing for a lot less money. But it's this time of year, Yeah. So and for Luke Schenn and Coburn to play that well and Bogosian to do that with McDonough out, that's a big break for them.
So Buffalo terminates him, which makes him an unrestricted free agent.
They don't need him. They are so damn good. They don't need him.
So I think Toronto was interested, and then they lost to the Zamboni driver, and I think they backed off. Right? I think they backed off. Calgary was interested in him. Pittsburgh was interested in him. And there was a sense that Montreal, I think he would have gone to Montreal, and I was told that Marc Bergevin said that Zach Bogosian couldn't pass gas. And I'm sitting there going, he made a pretty good pass to Coleman. I think his passing's okay. I thought that was a funny line.
That's a great line. And as we know, Marc Bergevin has some of the greatest lines ever.
He's one of the funniest guys you'll ever meet.
But he's not nearly as funny now as he was before he became a general manager. I don't find him nearly as funny. He used to be hilarious. I remember meeting him in the elevator in the Stanley Cup playoffs, Montreal playing in Tampa. You were with us. And Bergie was like dead serious. I'm thinking, just a minute, is this the same guy? Him and Mellenby were in the elevator with us. It was like, oh my God, we couldn't even get a smile out of them, And then we were really excited when Stevie Y got in the elevator and he wouldn't even look at us, let alone smile. You know what?
You've lived it,
Some people missed the boat on Bogosian. He's a veteran guy. And look, I'll tell you what, losing McDonough, it could have been a difference maker in this series to lose this guy. He's been that valuable to Tampa Bay. But Hedman, oh my God. Anyway.
It's going to be a good series. There's
Boston.
If this one doesn't go 7, then something's wrong.
I every time I watch the Boston Bruins play, I'm sorry. I know you think I'm going to say Corrali because of the great play he made last night. But I say Marchand. Like the plays the one in the skates from Pasternak, the great slap pass that Bergeron was in the center, could have been for him. It went almost, he closed his skates, he chips it in. How good is Brad Marchand as a player? How good? And everybody used to rat this. How damn good a player. How many great plays does he make in a game? An undersized guy that just is so damn important to this team. It's unbelievable.
We've seen some great lines over the years, Mac, and we're a little older. I'm not as old as you, but we've seen some great lines. And I can't ever recall seeing a line that can get the puck from one side of the rink to the other in a lateral movement better than that Bergeron line. I cannot believe how quickly they can get the puck one side to the other.
And you talk to people close to the Bruins, and they obviously rave about Bergeron. Everybody raves about Bergeron. And you know what they think of Marchand. But then you hear people talk about Pasternak, quality. You know what he is, Nick? Pasternak is a guy that this is what the players say. He just loves to play hockey. He can't wait to get on the ice. He can't wait to try to do different things. And I mean, how cool is that to hear that about a youngster playing in the playoffs with the skill and talent that he just absolutely loves the game. I mean, they're special, this line. They're especially talented and they're special people. And that combination bodes well for the Bruins.
Bruins Lightning back-to-back tonight at 8 p.m. We got to now, if we're going to talk about a goaltending controversy perhaps in Vegas, and there is no controversy when it comes to the goaltending. We know it's Halak, but what we don't know, Mac, is how Halak's going to handle a back-to-back and whether or not, Cassidy's even considering his backup goalie. And I wouldn't know the backup goalie for the Boston Bruins if I ran him over with the Zamboni driver's Zamboni.
When he's a kid, I'll tell you how I remember.
What do you do? You might have to give Halak a break here.
Yeah, well, tell him to have an extra hour afternoon nap before the game because you're not taking him out.
You're not taking him out.
I talked the other day about Halak when he was playing for Montreal against Washington in that series a number of years ago, and what his record is since that time in playoff games. And he's been essentially a backup a lot of the time since then. He is so special. Now, the kid that is the backup, I asked somebody last night, who is the backup? They said he played in the USHL like 3 years ago with Chicago Steel, and then he played in the East Coast League, and he's a good prospect, and he's a big kid. There's not a snowball's chance he's seeing the net.
You can't do that to a team that's supposed to contend, if not be the favorite for a Stanley Cup final out of the East. That's a tough one. You're right. You got to stick with Halak.
Halak's got to carry the ball from now till the end, and that's a lot to ask. We talked about the Tuukka Rask decision, and tough as it is, family. But the ball now, I mean, Halak has got to carry it, and there's no options. There's no options.
Well, there
unless
is an
the
option.
kid goes in if he's hurt.
Cassidy has an option here that the Islanders and the Flyers, who start at 3 p.m. Eastern, go 6 overtimes, and they cancel the Lightning Boston Bruin game. Yeah. That you can hope for that, can't you? If you're Cassidy,
you should be hoping for that because it wasn't an easy night for Halak last night. This is a series where people are making every series right now. Goaltenders are paying a big price. The way people go at the net, go to the net, screen, deflect, bang around. We saw Richie's goal last night, the way he poked at the puck. I mean, you make a save. That's just the start of it. So Halak is in tough. And
Did you like that goal? Did you like that goal? I like that goal for no other reason that it makes guys fight harder, and it makes people more accountable in front of the net to do a better job. I didn't mind the late whistle or no whistle for the goal. How about you?
Well, here's my take on it. I absolutely love the goal if I was the coach of the Boston Bruins. If I was the coach of the Tampa Bay Lightning, I would still be screaming about the goal. It was a borderline call for me. I mean, I know you play to the end. I didn't like the push.
We didn't see the puck, but it was not secured by Vasilevsky.
It was not secured.
It was not secured.
You've got to go after it. You've got to go after it. And my opinion was I thought it was a good goal. But I would be so pissed off if I was a Tampa Bay coach. I would have been over the top.
All right, so, now that we're ripping on the officials, delay a game off the glass that the NHL head office cannot call down to the officials and let them know they're not allowed.
You know what? You know me as a former every time one of these damn referees write a book, I'm at least 3 paragraphs in every book about what an ass I was as a coach and what a jerk I was on the bench. And can
I add a chapter to your chapter?
I'm not going to criticize the referees. I like them too much,
Well, that it just grazed it, first of all, and I don't blame them. The human eye cannot pick that up. But if we are in the world of getting it right with video review, how do you pick this we want to get right, but this we don't worry about? That rule has to change. And I believe in the fact that I don't want 3-hour games delayed by every look, but you opened up the can of worms, man.
Look, our good friend John Shannon, who I agree with about 20% of the time when it comes to I agree with him 100% with TV production. I agree with him on that. But with hockey, we have some disagreements. He's an expert on production. Last night, he's calling for video replay for pucks over the glass. I mean, Shanny, don't go there asking for video replay, although it was the wrong call. It was the wrong call last night.
We need to get John on the show to defend himself against you. That's what he needs. That's what we need.
John doesn't care if he gets criticized. He just likes to hear his name.
Okay. In the event that the Islanders and the Flyers do not need 5 overtimes to decide this one, do we see the Flyers become the team that came in 23-1 or 24-1 their last 25 games? Will that team show up?
Look, did the Flyers think the round robin was the Stanley Cup or the last month of the season? Come on, they have not looked good many nights, Nick. I'm sorry. They protected the net a few games. Okay, I have not liked their big guys up front at all. There's been a lack of physical presence by their group. This is a good-sized team that play with no urgency at times. I have not liked the Flyers at all. I really haven't. And they can still win this series, but I have not liked them. And they're playing against a team that's hitting on all cylinders right now.
They are. And I said this, that Philly showed signs of beating Montreal to that patient trap, line up 4 or 5 across the red line. Red Rover, we call you over. I mean,
seriously,
they are going to have to beat the Islanders. The Islanders are not going to beat themselves here. So opening it up or trying to open it up will not work against the New York Islanders. This one's going to have to be one of those snoozers that they just find a way to win 2-1. Can they do it again?
But look,
against a much deeper team than Montreal.
Even though the Islanders are a solid two-way team, they've got playmakers making plays. They've got Barzell making plays, Beauvillier making plays, Bailey making plays, Lee making plays. You still need, even if you're a conservative checking 200-foot team, you need your playmakers making plays.
Well,
you need Giroux, you need Konechny, you need Couturier, you need Voracek. You need these guys making plays. You're not just playing like a casual.
But the rest of them, Matt.
Seriously, they drove me. I've been going nuts watching this Flyer team play because I happen to want to see Philip Myers doing well on their back end.
This is chip and chase at its finest.
But you still see great plays by some of the Islanders.
Well, because you don't give them the line. You can't give up the blue line to them because they won't chip and chase. They'll gain the zone and they'll score a beautiful goal. We saw that.
I love the analytics people. You can't dump in the puck because you're giving up possession. And now because the Islanders are so effective, now the analytics people have changed. Oh, no, you can dump the puck, but you just have to make sure you retrieve it. So it's puck placement. And I'm thinking, are you like, I said this before in this show, I think, or some other show. Are you kidding me? We've been talking about puck placement for 20 years. This wasn't just discovered. You never dump the puck unless you hope to get it back, unless it's a desperate situation for the line change. So anyway, this is Philadelphia better get their heads out of their asses or they have no chance to win this series.
Islanders, Flyers.
The Flyers. The Flyers have not looked good. I'm sorry.
All right, we'll keep an eye on that one. That one gets underway in less than 3 hours.
Do you disagree with me on that or what?
Oh, I'm with you. I'm with you. And the problem is the Islanders can they can make you feel disinterested sometimes. Bored,
look,
I don't know what, but they're going to have to light their own fire. They're going to have to light their own fire, Philadelphia. They're going to have to create energy, and I don't know what it's going to take, but they got to light a fire under their ass.
And look, full marks to the Islanders. I mean, what about this Pelech and Pulock and these guys? How Taves and how good has this back end been for, Green as a pickup at the deadline? I mean, I just got to give the Islanders full marks. Lou Lamoriello, Barry Trotz and company, and the players. How good is Lee? How good is Nelson? How good is Bailey been? I mean, you go on and on. It's hard to find. And then Ross Johnson comes in, who, by the way, happens to be from PEI.
Yes.
And all of a sudden, now you got Larry Brooks doing it. Now you got Larry Brooks doing a column on Ross Johnson. Ross the boss, I call him.
Ross looks dump and chase. Ross looks fabulous on the New York Islanders.
When he plasters a defenseman to the board and then they chip it out front for a goal, he looks really good. But you know what? When he barks, people listen.
Oh,
you don't want toughness. You want skill. You want You don't want those big guys that can rattle the boards. Yeah, right.
Bookending tonight's game after the Lightning and the Bruins, the Avs and Dallas. You know what the biggest challenge is in this game, Mac? Will be keeping you awake to watch it.
I'll tell you what, I had a nap yesterday afternoon, so I could stay up last night.
10:30 Eastern is puck drop on this one, and I don't think the Avs should be sleeping anytime soon. How does a team like Dallas have so much trouble putting the puck in the net? And then you come in today, and their blue line is leading the charge. Heiskanen, Klingberg, Alexiak, they're putting numbers up, Mac.
Listen, first of all, as you know, 11:45 is game time here. I will find out the score at 3:30 or 4 in the morning when I get up to go to the bathroom. So that's when I'll get the score. But I found this new thing on my TV that I didn't know I had. It's called replays. You can replay the game. So
that's called a PVR.
No, it's on a PVR. It's on my Apple TV where it replays the game I can get the replay the next day. So I will study it and be sharp when I come in.
What is going on?
Oh, I'm not working tomorrow. I don't have to. I'm not working tomorrow.
What is going on in PEI? Because when Boston scored late, and I was excited for you because Crowley was involved in the goal, you had not seen it yet. And I'm like, what do they do in PEI? They draw pictures for you and then they give them to you?
No.
Why were you so late to see that goal? Why did I see it in like 2 minutes before you saw it? What is going on in PEI? Why are they so slow?
For the same reason that I have to drive in town to do this show. Because my internet at the cottage, what's it called when it starts to circle on you during the game? It starts to circle.
It's called the pinwheel.
Buffering.
The pinwheel.
So anyway, I looked at my phone just to check in scores, and I said to Clark, who was watching the game, my son Clark, I said, Clark, it's 3-2 for Tampa. He said, and we're looking at the screen, it's 2-2, so we're like 3 minutes behind on the damn TV. So then but anyway.
Tell son Clark to tell his client, Corrali, you want to go an extra minute and a half on Bergeron's shift again? I know it kind of worked out okay, but I would not push the envelope on that one, my friend.
It was so long that Jim Houston called him Bergeron when he made the pass.
Don't go there. Don't go there.
I can go there if I want. Twitter. I can go there if I want.
Is it true that when Corrali was coming up the ice and he passed the Boston Bruin bench, did he tell Bergeron to hold his beer? Is that true?
Exactly. You know what? Sean Crowley is the most selfless player we've ever had. And what happened was he got caught in that situation.
You get caught going up the ice. Sure you do. You get caught back, not up.
he lays down on the ice to keep the play alive, number one, to keep it alive. Then he has the sense to get off the side with that great positioning for Pasternak to find. He made the complete play on that goal, that kid. So I'm proud of him.
He is a playoff performer, Mac. He is a playoff performer.
He's a Columbus, Ohio junior Blue Jacket. He started playing minor hockey in Columbus when we went there with the Blue Jackets, and he's really the first Columbus kid to go through the Blue Jacket program, AAA program that we started, and I'm so proud of him. It's unbelievable.
Okay, 24 hours, Mac. We saw a pretty major trade against the with the Toronto Maple Leafs and the Pittsburgh Penguins. We want to get your thoughts on it in terms of the principal players. Kapanen going to Pittsburgh, and the Leafs opening up the $3.2 million and also getting a first-round pick at the 15th overall, which I think was a pretty good move by Kyle Dubas.
Yeah, full marks to Kyle for, getting his first pick back that he had to give up because he had to get rid of Marleau's money, and he had to include his first-round pick to get rid of Marleau. So he needed to get that pick back. Look, Kapanen is a pretty good player. He was not a fit with the Leafs. Kapanen with Marner and Nylander there, he's always going to be the odd man out. So he was the first guy that should have been traded to alleviate cap space. They got a good prospect, by the way, the Hollander kid from Sweden, good young prospect. So that helps as well. Kapanen, to me, I think he needs to wake up a little bit. I think he's got to be a better team guy on the ice and maybe off the ice.
Yeah,
because I just think that I hope Jimmy puts the clamps on him and maybe smartens this kid up a little bit because he needs some smartening up.
He's got potential for sure.
And if you play him with Crosby or Malkin, he could be a 35. He could be a Gensel. Come on.
I look at Jimmy Rutherford, and we're thankful for Jimmy. He keeps things interesting for us. He gives us topic of conversations constantly around the trade deadline, the draft, and yesterday. But Mac, when I see a team much like the Washington Capitals who have a small window here, I get it, but there has to be a sense of what the team could look like in 3 or 4 or 5 years from now, and giving up a pretty good pick in a deep draft, to me, for a guy like Kapanen, where we're still not sure if he is truly a top 6 guy year in, year out, or just a guy that'll play on your third line and get you 20, 25 goals. I worry about where Pittsburgh is giving up these top picks.
Kapanen won't be if he doesn't smarten up, number one. And number two, I have faith in Crosby that Crosby will help mature Kapanen along the way here to make him into a much better player, which Sid has done for a lot of people. And how many careers has Sid Crosby saved? And that's why, but I don't disagree with you. I mean, to me, it was a good deal for Kyle Dubas for the fact that he's got rid of the money. He got rid of a guy that really doesn't fit in and can't reach his potential because of Marner and Nylander. And also, I hated the Leafs' third line. I hate that line. I mean, I love it during the regular season when it's Kudley, Cozy, bummy checking all over the ice. But I don't like that third line when you got to play in the playoffs. So that's the start of maybe making it a better third line for playoff time. So I thought it was a good move for Dubas. And Jimmy gets somebody to play with Sid. But long term, it might be who knows what it becomes.
The frustration out of both fan bases is well documented here.
Yeah.
So while Pittsburgh could feel like they're deeper now, or they got more of a threat, Leaf fans are going, what did we get? We got to win now. First rounders are no good for us. So you assume now that the first rounder that he has is in play. That is not helping Leaf fans win a cup in the next 2 years or not, that first rounder. So what do you do with it, Mac? Where do you go from this? It's not so much people want to pat Kyle Dubas on the back And I'm sitting there going, okay, that's the start of something. And it's a good start. What he does with that first rounder is going to tell you everything you need to know whether or not it was a good move to begin with.
Well, look, he's got the luxury of this. October 6th, when the draft is held, the season is going to be over a week before that. He can evaluate what the pick is, or he can move the pick to acquire. Look, like, come on, it's no secret. They need 2 top 4 defensemen. So the money that was moved, the $3.2 million for Kapanen, is fine. That allows you to sign Dermott and Mikheyev for the raises they're going to get. One has arbitration rights, one does not have arbitration. So they should be easy deals to do. So you'll lose a little bit of the money there. They still have to move some bodies to get cap space to bring in 2 top 4 defensemen. So I believe that this is the start of trying to sign a couple of free agents or make a blockbuster trade to bring in 2 top 4 defensemen, because they don't have them right now. Yeah. And they're not going to compete at playoff time until they get them. So I hope this is the start of it. And as Kyle says, nothing is linear. Nothing is linear.
How many times did he use linear yesterday?
In his press conference, only once. So he watches the show. But he did talk a lot about accruing assets and accruing cap space. He used accruing like 20. I'm thinking, oh my God, I feel like I'm
oh my gosh.
I'm in a meeting with a hedge fund here on a. So anyway,
did you have to look up the word? I think we saw Brian Burke with a dictionary on Hockey Night in Canada. Can you borrow that from him?
Listen, I went to the Harvard of Canada. Berkey went to Harvard. I went to the Harvard of Canada. I went to UPEI and the University of Western Ontario. I don't need a dictionary. I need a dictionary to help me pronounce names, but not for what things mean. Anyway, it was a good deal for the Leafs.
You think we're going to see
and a good deal for Pittsburgh?
It is kind of seldom that you see trades during the playoffs. Are we going to see more?
Well, it's a funny year. Typically, you're not allowed to make them. So it's, this is a funny year, but teams are going to be active, flat cap, a lot of high-priced guys worried about their future. I think we're going to see quite a bit of movement. That's why it could be good for the Leafs to find a couple of top 4 defensemen, because people are looking to make some moves here and free up money. So it might work for the Leafs. That's why I have the Leaf jersey up here. It's a jersey of hope for all Leaf fans out there.
There's a few of them in PEI too.
Oh my God, is there ever? Is there ever?
We had Alan May on yesterday, and he was fabulous. I think it was our highest rated show, Mac.
No, it wasn't. And Wednesday was.
And he wanted me to pass on to you that he had more likes than you.
Tell Alan May that I thought he was so good, because when it's not easy at my age to have a nap. You need something to put you to sleep. And if I don't have melatonin, I have Alan May to help me get to sleep. So thank Mayday for that, will you?
I'll give
I actually have some breaking news. Today is our top-rated show with the most viewers we've ever had live. Dougie, don't let it go to your head. 337 beautiful individuals with this live right now.
Gosh.
Don't hit the like button. Hit the love button.
Why are you like this? Why are you so superficial that you need likes to feel good? What is wrong with you?
It's called trying to make a living when you're on fixed income. That's what it's called.
Alan also mentioned to us that in Washington, you picked him up in a town and country station wagon
with wood panels.
What does that mean?
With wood panels on the side.
Yes, with wood paneling. He wanted to call a cab, he said.
You know why I used that car? Because they told me it was a guy coming from the East Coast League, so not to really put on airs. not to try to impress him because he was coming from the East Coast League.
Did you borrow that from Jeff Rimmer? Where would you have found a town and country station wagon with wood paneling?
I borrowed it from the security guard. Remember the security guard at Washington, the Cap Center? What was his name? I borrowed it from him.
Jimmy Wiseman?
Yeah, Jimmy Wiseman. Well, you know why
I love Jimmy Wiseman. We love Jimmy Wiseman. I had to
borrow Jimmy's car because David Poyle used to give me a Toyota Corolla as my company car. I couldn't pick him up in a Toyota Corolla, which David said, "Hey, I got you a nice Toyota for your car."
This was the NHL, right? We are talking about the NHL. This is the NHL still. This sounds like an East Coast team.
I'll tell Alan May how it's changed. When I signed Adam Foote, I sent my owner's private jet to Whitby to pick them up.
With wood paneling? Did the plane have wood paneling?
Yeah, on the inside with the leather.
My stomach hurts. My stomach hurts. Doug Maclean, everybody, on the Real Kyper at Noon show, bringing it like he does at least 3 times a week, and sometimes more if he gets a nap in. Doug Maclean, everybody. Thank you, Mac, for joining us. Is he gone? Oh, God, he is one funny guy. I don't agree with him all the time, but he is one funny guy. And thanks all of you for joining us. Another quick hour at the Real Kyper at Noon show. 3 games on top. I hope you're ready for the Islanders. Philadelphia, 3 p.m. Lightning and Bruins back-to-back. How good's Halak going to be? Is he tired? We'll wait and see. And the Avs and the Stars at 10:30. Once again, comments, a rating and review on Apple Podcasts. Give them to us, and we'll read them out here next week. Okay? I promise you that. For Nick Kypreos, Doug Maclean, Michael Bannock Jr., and the rest of the crew from linemovement.com, thanks for watching. We'll see you tomorrow.